And then in question 4, we go to the energy costs tab. So let's go to energy costs and see if we can understand the data a little bit. So we have the months of the year, how many days you have in each month. So January has 31 days, February 28, and so on. And it looks like there's some electrical usage and usage of gas. So this could be in a home or a company. And at some point, you're probably doing this already. You're going to be paying for your own electricity, and many places in Canada, you also use gas. And if you take a look here, you can see the cost of the electricity is much more than the cost of the gas. So the cost of the gas looks like 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas electricity is 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you can actually heat your home with gas, it will be a lot cheaper than heating it with electricity. And in addition to the kilowatt hours, the usage, there's also something called a standard charge. Okay, so if you're using electricity, you're going to pay 20 cents every day. Regardless of how much you use or how little you use, you still have to pay the 20 cents. So the total is going to be how much electricity you used in terms of kilowatt hours, and then add 20 cents for every day. Okay. Likewise with the gas, you have the per kilowatt hour usage, and then every day you're going to be paying 17 cents for gas, regardless of how much or how little you use. So we have some idea of what's going on here, and I think we can just fill in the spreadsheet. So here we want to go to B10 and calculate the cost of electricity in January. This will be the number of units, B8, multiplied by P13. So let's find B8 and P13. So B8 is right there. That's how much electricity you used, 102 kilowatt hours. And every kilowatt hour is 15 cents. So you just multiply that straight. So we're going to put an equal sign. We click on kilowatt hours. Okay, 102 kilowatt hours. That's what we used. And then we click on 15 cents here, P3, and we press enter. Now here's something interesting. When we drag that formula over, look what happens. That's not correct. So if you take one of these cells here, double click, you'll see exactly what's going on. So I8, that's the usage in kilowatt hours, 70, multiplied by W3. Well, W3 is way over here. So what happens when you copy the formula over, the first cell moves over, okay? It's supposed to do that, but the second cell is supposed to stay fixed at P3. So let's do this again. Okay, so I'm going to highlight everything. All right, so we'll come to the first cell again, equals. So it's 102 kilowatt hours, okay, multiplied by P3. Now P3 is fixed, so just go in there and put, go in there and put the dollar signs in there, and that will fix it. So we'll put a dollar sign beside the P, so the P doesn't change, and we'll put a dollar sign beside the 3. It looks complicated, but you'll get used to it pretty quickly. Okay, so now when we copy the formula, the B8 is relative. That's going to change from B8 to C8 to D8 and so on, all the way across the row. P3, since it's absolute, it will not change. So let's press enter, and then we're going to grab it, pull it across, and we see the OK right there. so it's working. Now, that is the kilowatt hours. Regardless of how much or how little you use, okay, you're still going to pay 20 cents every day for the electricity and 17 cents every day for the gas. Let's go ahead and calculate that now for the electricity. So equals, and how many days are there in January? Keep in mind this row here, or this column, is the month of January, and we have 31 days. Now, is that relative or is that absolute? Is that going to change as we copy the formula, or does it stay fixed? Okay, B2 is going to change. So always ask yourself that question. Is that cell reference going to change, or is it going to be fixed? And we're going to multiply that by the standard charge for electricity, 20 cents a day. Again, ask yourself, is that going to change, or is that going to stay the same? That's going to stay the same. So let's go ahead and make that absolute. We're going to put our dollar signs in. And again, if you prefer, you can just simply hit the F4 button on your keyboard. Press enter. Okay. Now every time we copy this over, we'll see an OK there that tells us we did it correctly. Let's copy it, see if we did it correctly, and we got another OK. Now here, we're going to add the two together to find out the cost, total cost of the electricity. So we have to add these two numbers together. We're going to take the first one, kilowatt hours, and we're going to add that to how much we have to pay every day. Okay, well, for the whole month of January, we press enter, and we see that's 21. We're going to copy that formula over so that we have the total cost of electricity all the way to December. So let's click over here, drag it over, and we get another OK. That means we did it correctly. Let's do the exact same thing now, but not with electricity, but with gas. So let's press equals. And then we used 110 kilowatt hours of gas. That is relative. That's going to change as we copy it over. We multiply that now by P, I think that's P4, okay, which is gas in kilowatt hours. And that is fixed. That's not going to change. So we put our dollar signs in, dollar sign, press enter. Okay, copy it over, and we get the OK. Let's do the monthly charge now. So regardless of whether you use electricity or not, you're going to pay. So how many days do we have in the month of January? We have 31 days, and that is relative. That's going to change as we copy the formula over, and we multiply that by 17 cents a day. And that is fixed. Put the dollar signs in, press enter, copy the formula, and you get another OK there. All right, so now we're going to add the two together for gas. So we put an equal sign in there, click on the first cell, and add to it the second cell. And both are relative this time. Both are going to change. We press enter, and then we copy it over. Okay. So I think we filled in those two tables, and now we want the total cost of energy for we want the total cost of energy here, both gas and electricity. So we'll put an equal sign in there. Total of the electricity is right there, and then go ahead and add the total cost for the gas. Copy the formula. Now, how much does gas and electricity cost every day? The cost per day. Well, if you're paying $29.52 for the whole month of January, and there are 31 days in January, then we need to divide that number by 31. And both those numbers are going to change in the formula. They're both relative. so we don't need dollar signs, so it's going to be 29.52, and then you find the /. That's how you do divide in programming languages and in Excel. You click on the number of days, okay, which is also relative. We press enter and we copy that formula over. We get another OK. And now it looks like we have to do a cost for the entire year. We're going to add up all the electricity and all the gas for the year. So let's do an equal sign in here. And we're going to be summing up all the electricity over here. This row 12 has to be added up. So let's put a sum function in there. Sum, open up your brackets, and then sweep across the total cost for the electricity. Close your bracket off, press enter. Do the same thing with the gas. So we're going to sum up the total cost of the gas, which is row 21. Okay, so let's go ahead, sweep across that, close off the bracket, press enter, and the total energy cost for the year, well, I think it's just electricity plus gas, so we're just going to add up those two numbers. Now we can do a sum here, or we can just click on them individually and do a plus, and it gives us the same result. And we're just about done. Now we need to know how many days there are in a year. There are 365, but if you look up here, you can see there are 31 in January, 28 in February. We're going to sum up the total number of days here. So let's do an equals, and we'll type up sum, open up the bracket, sweep across all the days, or sweep across the days for each month, close off the bracket, 365 days, and then we want the average or mean daily cost, so we take the total amount, okay, which for our energy, gas and electricity, and we divide it by 365 days. So let's do an equal, and we'll click on the total amount for the year. Again, divide is the /, and we're going to divide that by 365 days. We press enter, and there we go. Now we're just about finished here. We just have to do a few touch-ups. If you look over here, you know, money, okay, we have to have 2 decimal places. That looks correct. That doesn't look correct. So let's look at the instructions carefully and see how we're going to touch this up. So calculate, 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 and then I think, okay, it says here there's a lot of inconsistency, and what we want to do is we want to format all the costs, B to M, to 2 decimal places. So let's go to B to M first, and make sure B to M only has 2 decimal places for costs. So that is, we'll just go across all that, and you can simply right click on it and go to Format Cell. Oops, a little bit slow. There it is. And we want 2 decimal places for that. So we click on Number, and we have 2 decimal places. So that looks correct. I'm going to do the same thing with these values down here. Right click, Format, Number, 2 decimal places only. So that corrects those values. And then in P12 to P14, it should be currency. So let's do that one last, P12 to P14. So P12 to P14, we'll turn that into money by right-clicking, go to Format Cells, and now we choose currency.